What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am the Viking, of course, and this is my non-spoiler review for Halloween Kills, which came out last Friday in the US in theaters and on Peacock. Opening weekend, the film made 50 million, not bad for a pandemic era of movies coming out, and looks to be another big hit for the franchise. But critics seem to hate this movie while audiences seem to love it. And I'm kind of down the middle on this one. I really am. And this is coming from somebody who is a huge fan of the Halloween franchise. I love the first one. That's the peak. It cannot be touched. Two, I liked. It's very good. Some stuff I don't like about it, but overall it's a good movie. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch is an anthology movie that doesn't feature Michael Myers. A bit weird. It's actually a really good movie. I watched it the other night. I liked it a lot. It's just not a good Halloween movie for this franchise because Michael Myers wasn't in it. Halloween 4 is one of my absolute favorites. It's probably my second or third favorite in the entire franchise in terms of all the movies. Halloween 5 is watchable. The kills are good. Just some story choices are terrible. 6 is terrible. 7, where Jamie Lee Curtis returned for Halloween 20, was good. I actually liked that one. And then Resurrections was terrible and probably killed the franchise until Rob Zombie came on and had his two movies, which the first one did well, the second one didn't. Some people love those movies, some people hate them. Then Halloween 2018 came, directed by David Gordon Green, who did a pretty awesome job. But it was a reboot. It was a direct sequel to the original movie. That means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of the previous Halloween movies did not exist in this current timeline at all. Laurie Strode, of course, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, returned to the role, so it was just a direct sequel, and it was a very good movie, did it very well, and I enjoyed it a lot. But what I liked about Halloween 2018 is that it was a simple movie. You know, the other Halloween movies tried to do new interesting things that didn't quite work off. But I think to get this franchise back, Halloween 2018 was a simple Michael Myers, Laurie Strode story that worked, was a success. And then now for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, you can try new, unique things with the character and the world. It was just important to get that audience back. And Halloween Kills tries new and interesting ideas, some of which that works really well and some of which that does not work at all. Now, this story, this Laurie Strode story, is supposed to end next year for Halloween Ends, which hasn't started filming yet. It's supposed to come out a year from now, so we'll have to see how that develops. So at the end of the last movie, you had Laurie Strode taking on Michael Myers alongside of her daughter and granddaughter Karen and Allison. And they beat Michael Myers. They killed him. Well, that's what it seemed like. They left him in a burning house. You know, and then the film ends and you think, oh, will they make a sequel? What's going to happen? And of course, Michael Myers is very hard to kill. So this movie, Halloween Kills, pick up directly after the sequences we got to see in the last movie, where Michael Myers is not dead whatsoever and these firefighters are trying to stop the flames in this house, and Michael Myers comes out and takes out these firefighters one by one, which is in the trailer. So then this movie really is about how Michael Myers and his legacy has affected the people of Haddonfield for 40 years. You know, and there was a bit of a social commentary going on about mobs, which I'll get to. But basically, Halloween Kills didn't really have much of a plot or a story to it at all. It was a very interesting take for them to go in because the last one was so good. This one just feels like part 2 of 3. And it's very hard for me to sit here and say this is a great Halloween movie, because it doesn't feel complete. It feels like I have to see the next movie to see if this movie was good or not, which can be a really great idea or a really bad idea. I have to see the next movie to comment on that, and that's strange. But maybe their thinking was, okay, we're guaranteed the next movie, Halloween Ends. We have to set up these story points in this movie to make the next movie great. Maybe that's what their thinking was, because, you know, if they weren't guaranteed a next movie, they would have to try things a little bit more safely in this one. You know, have the Michael Myers kills, of course, but have Laurie Strode versus Michael a lot more, which we don't get in this movie at all. So maybe they thought about, okay, let's set up the anxiety of what Haddonfield has gone through the last 40 years. You know, the original characters have come back into this story, like a Laurie Strode or a Tommy Doyle or a Lindsay, you know, or a Marianne. These characters that we got to see in the very first movie are still affected by those circumstances 40 years ago, not just them, but the people of Haddonfield. So if we show that side of this town and we show how brutal Michael Myers is in the way he kills, which this movie does beautifully, and then we go into the next movie where we have Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers, and we get to understand where both characters are coming from, because in this film they changed things up with Michael very interestingly, and I did like it. Some people won't, but I did like it. There's just one aspect of the film I didn't like whatsoever. But yeah, you have Tommy Doyle comes back, who was a kid in the first movie. You have Lindsay, they were babysat, of course. Now they're much older, dealing with that anxiety of 40 years ago. Marianne, of course, was a nurse. She was around, Dr. Loomis, who was Michael Myers' doctor in 1978 in that movie, and he was hunting them down. Now, the actor Donald Pleasence did return for Halloween 2. He returned for 4, 5, and 6 before he passed away, and he was one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise. I prefer him over Laurie Strode. Michael's the top, but then you have Dr. Loomis. Of course, wasn't in the last movie, and in this movie we do get to see him again in terms of flashbacks, which I loved so much. But Laurie Strode's in hospital for most of this movie. So Michael Myers, of course, is a man on a mission. He's taking out people one by one. The kills in this movie are absolutely brutal, guys. They're at times overdone, but I don't mind that they're overdone because it's Michael Myers. He is just this insane... Do you want to call him a person? He's just this insane being that kills people in the most weird of ways, And there's one point in this movie where he has a character dead. The character's dead, but he continues to stab this character, I'd say about 6 or 7 times, even though the character's dead. The kills are absolutely brutal. There's one sequence on a staircase where Michael kills somebody. It's very graphic. This movie does not hold back whatsoever. But I did like seeing the original character like Tommy Doyle and Lindsay return, and they do have more screen time in this. And maybe more screen time than Jamie Lee Curtis, and I was not expecting that at all. But the upsides of this movie is that the kills are brilliant. I think that the Tommy Doyle aspect was really well done. I liked seeing the flashbacks to the original movie. Dr. Loomis came back, and we got to see a different perspective of the original movie from the cops and other kids who were trick-or-treating that night that came across Michael Myers. I loved that part so much. And in this movie as well, we kind of find out that Michael Myers isn't really obsessed with Laurie Strode as much as maybe we want to think, because when we revisit 1978's movie, Michael Myers came across more than just Laurie Strode. He came across Officer Hawkins that we got to see in the first movie as well, who we thought maybe would have died, but he actually returns in this one. Something that we did not know before is that he had a history with Michael Myers on that very night that shaped his entire life. So that drives his determination in this movie to kill Michael Myers. And we realize as an audience that Michael isn't obsessed with Laurie Strode. He's obsessed with Haddonfield as a whole and maybe his childhood house. And he's come across these characters like Laurie Strode, like Officer Hawkins, like, Lindsay or Tommy Doyle. They're affected by him, but Michael isn't necessarily affected by them because they got away or he didn't get to kill them. He's obsessed with something else in this movie, and it's actually makes you think about Michael in a different way. It adds this little bit of vulnerability to Michael Myers as a character that you would not expect from these movies. And now some people will love this and some people will hate this. Me, I appreciate it, and I liked how this movie ended, setting up the next movie very much. But my downsides with this movie aren't huge, but at times the dialogue for the characters is very poor. I don't think it's bad acting, I just think it's badly written at times. In the trailer, some of the characters say, Laurie Strode says, "Evil dies tonight." That's said about 60 times in this movie. Okay, I'm probably over-exaggerating, but it's said a good amount of times in this movie where I was like, oh, again? Evil dies, yeah, okay. And I was mouthing along with the character, yeah, evil dies, we know, evil dies tonight. Stuff like that, it's just, I don't know why that was so used in this movie, but at times, certain characters just shout out, "Evil dies tonight," and the way they say it is so cringeworthy. It really is. And Tommy Doyle, the actor that plays Tommy Doyle, did a fantastic job. It's just some of the dialogue he was given was terrible at times. It really was. And then Allison, of course, Laurie Strode's granddaughter, she goes on a mission to kill Michael Myers herself. I'm like, bitch, please, you're not going to kill Michael Myers, and some of her intentions are very cringeworthy at times, and then her mother Karen follows her and stuff like that, and she does something very stupid as well, because in the trailer, you see this, she has Michael Myers' mask. But what she does with the mask, it's just so stupid, really stupid, just kind of pissed me off, stuff like that. But those will be the downsides. But the biggest downside for this entire movie is the social commentary in terms of mobs. Now, do I agree with mobs and what happens? They can get out of control. No, I don't. Sometimes, friendly protests can be important, stuff like that. But this film showed the anxiety that Haddonfield has because of Michael Myers, what he did 40 years ago. And now when they know that Michael Myers has returned, the town comes together. Haddonfield comes together as this mob. Evil dies tonight to kill Michael Myers. But like any mob, they're easily led. If they're told that person's a bad guy, then the mob will go towards that person. And that's what kind of happens in this movie, where the mob just gets completely out of control. Tommy Doyle is leading this mob. He really is. Everyone listens to him, and it just gets out of hand at times, especially in the hospital when a certain character dies because of the mob, and they think it's Michael Myers, but it's not Michael Myers at all. But I think if you take that idea out of the movie, it doesn't make it a better movie. I just think it needs to be performed a lot better. It needs to be written better. The camera work needs to be better. Just for that entire sequence, it just seemed completely off for me. It really, really did. And Karen, of course, a character, Laurie Strode's daughter, she makes a terrible decision in that circumstances as well. Now, maybe I'm being too harsh on this, but I just think the way that the mob mentality was put into the movie was done poorly. And I actually don't think it's social commentary as much as people are saying. I don't think so. I really don't. But I just think it could have been performed better. Now, if you guys have watched Halloween 4, there was a mob in that movie as well that came together with shotguns to take down Michael Myers. And they do something very similar as well, where they kill an innocent man. A similar thing happens in this movie, but the way that this movie does it just is done poorly. But Halloween 4 just did it quick, snappy, okay, yeah, shit. And that was done within 5 minutes. This movie does it for about 15-20 minutes, maybe even more. And I'm like, come on, I'm over this right now. Get to Michael Myers, get to some killing, progress the story. But Halloween Kills never really progresses the story for me. It really doesn't. It's just Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills is this story about Michael Myers showing us how brutal he is, the anxiety that Haddonfield is under from Michael Myers. Movie ends. Let's go into the next movie then, where it's going to be Laurie Strode versus Michael. I presume. I thought that movie that I just watched was going to be that Halloween Kills, but it really wasn't. So that would be my downside. The dialogue, the stupid actions by the characters, and the mob kind of mentality sequence, the way that was kind of performed. Now then again, horror movies, slasher movies, characters make stupid decisions all of the time. So maybe I'm being too harsh on Halloween Kills here, because every movie I've watched with slasher, I'm like, don't go into that room, don't go on your own. Stuff like that happens in this movie as well. But yeah, I just think maybe some of the ways that it could have been done better should have been the way that they went. But I do appreciate them trying something different with this movie. They could have played a safe movie like 2018. And 2018 I like, but it's very safe. It's very, very safe. It's very much like the original movie. It's just a safe movie. This movie isn't that safe. It tries new things, which I really appreciate. I love that. Halloween 5, I think, is a bad movie, but they tried to bring some supernatural stuff into the franchise. I appreciate the idea, them trying to do it. It just didn't work that well. I'm sure there is a way to make it work, and I'm sure there's a way to make the mob social commentary in this movie work, but for me, it just didn't work that well. It actually worked in Halloween 4 before, so, there is a way to do things right. It's just this movie didn't get that aspect right, but what it did get right was the kills from Michael Myers, as I said, are absolutely brutal. And Laurie Strode is not in a lot of this movie, so we meet just random characters that are killed by Michael Myers in brutal ways, and it's very hard to be attached to these characters because we don't really know them that much, because we kind of necessarily care about Laurie Strode, Tommy Doyle, these characters that we previously know. But yeah, I think that was really well done, the kills. Some people will love this movie because of the kills. The kills are fantastic. Some people will love it because they love slasher movies, they love Michael Myers, but some people will not like this movie at all, probably because of the mob mentality, social commentary that I talked about, maybe because of the lack of Laurie Strode, and then maybe the origin of kind of Michael Myers and what happened back in 1978 in that movie. I did like it, I did appreciate it, but you probably might not. It depends how you kind of feel watching the scene, but I did appreciate the change up, and I'm very interested to see people I'm friends with online on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you follow me, to see if you like that aspect as well. But overall, I liked Halloween Kills a lot. I really, really did. I enjoyed it. It's just some of those aspects I didn't agree with, but overall, it was a very good movie, and I love the killing from Michael Myers. As I said, I'm talking about it a lot in this review because the movie's called Halloween Kills, and that's exactly what Michael Myers does in great fashion at times. And Michael Myers is more agile in this one. You're not used to seeing Michael Myers move a lot. You see him walk slowly, but when he's fighting people or killing people, he moves a little bit more. He's more agile. He pins them up against walls and stuff like that. And the point where he takes on these firefighters, there's a lot of them, I think like 11 or 12 of them, and he takes them out one by one, and he's moving a lot more, which is very weird to see Michael Myers do that. But, then again, he's a killer. I like them changing up Michael Myers a little bit. Overall, I would definitely check out Halloween Kills if you're a fan of this franchise. If you want a good time, 2 hours to watch Michael Myers kill people, then it's all there for you to enjoy. Just turn off your brain at times when some of the characters are talking and some of their actions are very stupid, but overall, it's a very, very good watch. But it very much feels like part 2 of 3. Halloween 2018 was the setup, the return, the reboot, bringing back these characters to our screens, the simplicity of Halloween as a franchise. And this one right here took some risks. It changed things up, which I appreciated. Some things worked, some things didn't work, but it definitely feels like a part 2 of 3. Now, I can't necessarily stay here and say that Halloween Kills is a fantastic, great movie. It could be a great movie after I watch Halloween Ends, because this could be the perfect setup for whatever they've planned in Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends, I'm looking forward to it. It could be a fantastic, great, amazing slasher Halloween Michael Myers, Laurie Strode movie, and it would automatically make this movie great. It really will, because of what they set up. But if Halloween Ends comes out and it's just like this movie, then this movie will be even worse than it is right now. That's just my opinion, guys. But I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on Halloween Kills. Have you checked it out yet? Maybe you got to see it last weekend. Maybe you're seeing it this weekend. I'm very intrigued to see what your thoughts were on the movie. If you're excited for it, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for all the latest movie, TV, news, reviews, DC, Marvel, all that kind of good stuff. And make sure you follow me on all my social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Halloween is just around the corner, so be careful, guys. You never know what's out there. But if you feel unsafe, you can always stay and eat some candy and watch some videos. Buy movies that matter.